Typologies math. Okay. So yeah, the 4 stack versus the 8 stack. So yeah, a lot of people might think, it's 4. Some might think it's 8. The classic one is 8. Most people think it's 8. Some typology think it's 4, like OPS. Over time, I think if you know the math, if you do the addition and the universal, I think you can do a triangulation, and it will mean that if you actually know the math, you will know that there's 4, but that doesn't mean that you don't utilize, the other functions and all that. So that's why I think it's better to be aware of all the coins out there, all the functions. I think it's crucial to know that, to know other people, and to know your impact, yourself impact to others, and it will still express itself. So the 8 stacks do make sense. It do make sense just to represent that there's all the functions within your stack. But I think that's kind of obvious to say that they're just there, that all functions are within yourself. It's just to make the focus on the 4 stack. My position means more that the 4 stack is better. I think it's a better way to represent what happens, and it's with triangulation. With if you know the math, that you kind of come to do the shadow stack, or the other 4 stack, of your 8 stack, you can say. So yeah, so first of all, if you are, I will do the ENTP first. So Ni is the 5th slot in other typology. So it's often called like the ignoring function. So why is that? Okay, people calling ignoring in other system, but in typology, in OPS, we all know that savior Ni are savior N, which mean that Ni, the N is savior, but not the OI. So we can say, okay, Ni is kind of both in the saviors, both in the daemon and the OPS. Now, even in other system, they call it the ignoring functions, which pretty much summarize the OPS position about Ni for ENTP or in dominant, just to say that you are ignoring the OI, but you are good at it. But good at it. So basically, any dominant, they ignore the OI, but they are good at the N. So pretty much, the 5th slot ignoring pretty much summarize OPS take. If you actually know the coin and the math, you actually know the dynamics, so you don't need to say that the 5th slot is ignoring, because you know that any dominant will be quote unquote good, because even other typology system outside of OPS, they're still stuck in the skills versus non-skill instead of saviors and demons. So saviors and demons is a better dichotomy than skills and not skills. You can see a lot of typology out there are about the skills and not skills. So yeah, the 5th slot is easy to see. The 8th slot is also easy to see. So in most typology, the 8th slot is the role position. So the role position is pretty much, we'll do the same thing with Ni. So any dominant, there are daemon S, but they are savior OE. So the role pretty much summarize that, is that your role is OE. So you do your 8 functions, you do the same role because of the dominant. So it's pretty much summarized that you are an EP or an OE saviors. So you will have the same role, but you will not do it. But not do it, or not do it per se. Not do it per se. So not doing it per se pretty much summarize that it's the sensory, so you don't do it per se. So like again, if you know the math, it's pretty much summarize the OPS math. It's pretty much summarize the dynamic of the 8 stacks that you find in other system. So it's pretty funny that no one have noticed it. So you have a lot of TI dominant that have not noticed it. So it's pretty much funny to me. So yeah, they don't notice shit. So it kind of show that people are actually stuck in more a kind of paradigm. So if you show in all typology system that is 8 stack, people will be stuck in that paradigm for a while, and you need somebody else to actually come in and after show it's the 4 stack that actually make the most sense. Because if you know the 4 stack very well, your other functions are if you know the math, you like if you know the math, it explains itself just within the math, so you don't need to explain the other things. But yeah, so the other now the 6 slot and the 7 slot are harder to see. So the 6 slot in the other system is called the creative function. So now the ignoring and the roll are very easy to see. Now no PS, your middle one, they're they go back and forth. You're pretty much good at it with your middle functions, even if one might be a demon and single activated feminine. So it's kind of, it can be very nuanced. But yeah, the creative functions, it's what is called in most other typology than OPS. So for ENTP is TE. So I mean, their savior, ENTP kind of, so their first function is extroverted, and they are a thinker. So it does align with the TE. And we know that in OPS that your middle functions, you're really good at it. So that's why in most typology the 6 slot is the creative that you're the most good at. So it just makes sense to me that okay, if in the middle and your savior thinker and you're extroverted, by default the T of ENTP is not, it's not bad in terms of skills and non-skilled. It's kind of something that you have some skills on. So the position order might be more useful for the 6 and 7 slot, but even then, if you go by the non-skill skill of the academy of every other typology than OPS, it just makes sense in the math again. While FI being the polar. So in another typology, the first slot is the polar. So it's your blind spot. I think that you're the worst stat actually. So again, harder to see with the middle. But you can see that ANTPs are severe thinking, and they are not introverted. So it makes sense that they are the worst stat FI, But it doesn't. But therefore, I think that's also why the 6 slot and the 7 slot, they make less sense. I think that it actually put people in a lot of error. Those 2 slots. I think when I see people typing, I mean in other typology typing people, I do see that's often time with there, because they try to type people, and people have to like fit the position slot and the description of every one of the 8. And I do see that it's often time in those one that over time that they end up typing people, which are the one that I see as the more bullshit in terms of slot explanation. So they will say like the 7, like they will inject a lot on the 7. So okay, if the person cannot do the 7, it means that this person is for sure has a certain type of functions in the 7 slot. So I think that bring a lot of error, just typology as a whole, and they also bring a lot the creative functions. So when you see that, okay, it's oftentimes they go to those 2 functions, 2 position order. I'm like, okay, and they are the most less apparent in the math. If you know the math of the 4 stack, okay, it kind of mean that it's kind of more bullshit. So I'm not sure if people will follow me there, but yeah, basically it. And I think that's just really with triangulation that you know that. Like I said, the triangulation with the NIC, that I represent, and so also the addition. For example, in TIFE, if you addition all those together, do two extrovert functions and two judging function. So the two judging and the two extrovert is NE and FE. So if you do that, you're like, okay, the two extrovert function and two judging, it's mean that's it's and now you say, okay, judging, the person already has FE, so okay, it has to be TE. So just with addition, we're kind of like, okay, any TI FE kind of mimics TE. So that's also how to came to the 6 slot. You can see that the FI, you're bad at it because it's without your dominant. So it's really the TE, FE, SI, and that will equal FI. But it's without your dominant, and people always use your dominant. So just by the addition, you also came to the same conclusion as the polar and the creative. So that's also pretty funny to see that. So like I said, just if you know the math, the A stack explain itself if you know the 4 stack, But it's still good to represent it. I think that the other typology representing it, I think it's just good. But the problem is just that they lost themselves in the explanation of the slots, and oftentimes that I've seen they rely too much on the. It's like if you have a lot of cross check, over time you will maybe go the cross check that are the easier or the most wishy-washy. So over time you might actually type people wrong because you always rely on your coins that actually are the most bullshit. And I do see that's what happened with the 8 stack, that people rely a lot more on the coins that are bullshit with the polar, saying okay, this person can do this, so it must be that they are that. So that's kind of what happened with the other typology, I find. So that's why I think not using the 8 stack, but if you know the math of the 4 stack, I think it explains itself the other functions in your shadow stack, basically. And I think that just the human needs of OPS kind of bridge the gap,